Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the What If. Chapter 73. The pieces come together at the end of a trip. Taesoon, the future Naruto, found himself on the shore of a rocky, volcanic island off the coast of a destroyed land. The land of whirlpools. The island was a half a mile wide in diameter, with the extinct volcano in the middle, with the area like a balcony carved out of the great rock before a human-sized opening. How ironic. And here I never actually bothered to visit my people's homeland. I really should slap myself, he sighed, his sage mode to active now that he knew he was here. Hey Duckchiha! Taesoon yelled out loudly, thus getting the attention, and ire, of one duck-haired Uchiha Lord of Darkness. He glared down from said perch. So, it's you. Fire release, great fireball technique. A fireball smashed into Taesoon, who poofed away. Sasuke glared. Why did he still not have that jutsu? Beast wave palm. Sasuke narrowly dodged an attack from Taesoon, who stared at him. Not really in a look of revenge, but that of a look that a regular shinobi would give on an assassination mission on their target. So, still going on your little, no revenge policy. You Senju fools, Sasuke smirked. Naruto. Taesoon glared down at him. Last time, I took you and your mockery out because I would be unable to change the future that you had created, not for revenge. It was also to ensure you wouldn't desecrate the village's memories, Sasuke chuckled. Sure. Say that, my foolish dobe of a teammate, sure. No revenge whatsoever. So, you didn't relish in destroying the girl who spurred all your advances. You can't say no to that, after all you're human. Partially, Sasuke grinned. Naruto. Taesoon shook his head. You killed Sakura-chan long before that, when you put your Juinjutsu on her. Gone forever was the Sakura who had evolved into my best friend, my wife's confident and fine Jonin, but a reworked version of the original, fangirl version of her. What I killed, what a mockery, and not my loyal teammate, Sasuke chuckled. So what? I think it was an improvement. His chuckle turned to a furious look. Instead you doomed the human race, demon. Taesoon rose an eyebrow. For what? To be rebred into a Uchiha-dominated race. You're aware of inbreeding, right? Trust me, I met a few seriously inbred guys and gals on top of a floating mountain in a place called New York a few years ago, and they make Orochimaru seem sane sometimes, Sasuke laughed darkly. Oh, I'd fix that. For once I would have gained your fox demon. I'd be able to recreate and absorb the Jubi, and with its power, reign as God. Unlike the Six Paths Sage, was immortal. Your moon being destroyed in the future has permanently cut off your ability to gain moon immortality. Thus, you are no longer able to become God. Thus, all that remains, is to fulfill my last mission, to ensure that my past self, and the world, gains a second chance. Now, you must die. Sasuke chuckled darkly and maniacally. Oh, so you think you're so high and mighty, Kyudame? Well then, tell that Hyuga bitch that. Oh, that's right, you can't, because you killed her. Naruto gripped his palm, in sadness. Sadly, that had a slight truth to it. Flashback, the final battle. The dark version of Sakura was laying on the ground on top of the Hokage monument, her tenketsu sealed by a battered-looking Hinata. Dressed in similar wear to her Shippuden self, but with a t-shirt of a similar look to her jacket instead, far better showing off her natural figure than the jacket did. Naruto appeared beside her panting. I've lost the tem. Good job, my sunny love. Hinata smiled with a blush, before they eyed Sakura. Thank you. I promised her I'd save her from the Uchiha's control. He was cautious in how he talked. He had once read Hinata's diary, by mistake of course, and had read some worrisome things. Dear diary, I can't believe it, just for being whose he's always been, just without the fox fear anymore, all those girls from the academy that once hated him, and stalked that Uchiha, are now after him. Those ungrateful little. But, what if he falls in love with one of them, and forgets about me? What would I do? Would I even have a reason to live? Naruto was shocked at how, terrified of that fear, Hinata thought he'd leave her. Or worried about it. And would commit suicide if he did. He assured her that would never happen. Hinata had a limp, and a grin. After that, And convinced the Shinobi Council and 2 of the newer civilian members of the council to remove the CRA before he would be legally forced into Hinata's worst nightmare. He'd never given thought to the law, and he didn't even want to think of how Hinata would take it. He promised her, no matter what, no other woman would ever catch his eye. Hence, the fluffy neglect. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, Hinata nodded, as Naruto began several hand signs. Boar, dog, bird, dragon, snake, serpent, dog and monkey. Sacred sealing art. 18 sacred flavors, light unsealing. 18 stone ramen cups rose up around them, before a band of blue static connected each of them, and striking Sakura. She screamed, as the curse seal was being burned off, her original personality restored to control. Naruto smiled. I kept my promise, Sakura-chan. However, Sasuke had caught up to them. Fire release. Great fireball technique. The fire attack struck the bands of the seal, before they went haywire. What the? Wind release. Wind encampment wall. Naruto formed the defensive barrier around himself and Hinata, as the bands struck Sakura wildly, before going randomly at them both, piercing the wall and striking through Hinata. No, Hinata-chan. Tears were in Naruto's eyes now, as the bolt struck into him, around the seals, sending him flying as the ramen cups exploded, covering Hinata's now dead body with rubble. Sasuke then caught sight of Naruto. Kamui. He sucked Naruto into the vortex, closing it with a grin. That would allow the fox to eventually escape from the dimension hole, in seconds from a process that would take years. Sakura then got back up, and glomped Sasuke. Thank you, Sasuke-sama. Now the Dobi and his bitch are dead, she squealed like Tenten at a weapons show. Sasuke smirked. Now then, all we have to do is wait just seconds, and the fox will be mine, and godhood will be mine. Then, a hole opened up, but it wasn't a Kamui hole. The hole was like someone had shattered a window with a bullet, hanging like a hologram in the air, from which a Rasenshuriken flew out, that the two barely dodged. Then right before the hole closed, Naruto, now in his Teisun get-up, emerged. Hello, old pals, and the second phase began. End flashback. Naruto knew that logically, he wasn't the one to really kill Hinata, but Sasuke, but it still clung to him like Konkoro to a puppet. Those 12 years in Fluffy had taken him to some weird places, fighting some powerful opponents in preparation for this day. He had matched Rasengan versus Voldemort's Avada Kedavra, he had dueled Shinigami blade to blade, he evaded the wrath of entire pantheons, he'd win against Sasuke. He won last time, and would win this time. Even without Fluffy, she who was a 1/3, D the fox, a 1/3, D his wife, and a 1/3, D of Sakura's inner emotions and locked personality, who was busy explaining to the past Naruto and the others what the hell was going on, and giving up her souvenirs. Tenten probably had pulled a Hinata after seeing a complete set of the 7 swordsmen's swords. Though they'd have to make them appear differently to keep the timeline from going too nuts, same with the cloud swords. But he had his 9 Kekkei Genkei, oddly the curse given to him by his first cross-universal opponent, a dark version of himself who had gained the name, Blood Snatcher. He had the elemental releases, Semi-Kekkei Genkei and Tota, and his determination. Now then, let's begin, Teisun grinned, before the shadow clone exploded. The clone explosion sent Sasuke flying into the air, where Naruto was waiting with the Rasengan. One for old times, Teisun chuckled, before striking it into the Chidori that Sasuke crafted, beginning the final battle. Chapter 74. Lightning Crash Final Battle Island. Teisun, Naruto and Sasuke flew at one another, Sasuke drawing his sword of Kusanagi, and Naruto forming the blade of Katrina. Sending Chidori into the katana, the 2 electric blades collided in an explosion of lightning chakra. Both of them were blown away, each of them with great force. Die Naruto. Teisun eyed Sasuke. I'm Teisun. Naruto's story is now his own, not mine, because unlike his, my story is about to hit its climax. Water release. Gunshot. He sent a blast of water via the tiger seal, just like Gamabunta did during their fight with Shukaku all those years ago, and how he knew how to defeat Gaara this time around. Blaze release. Blazing fireball. Forming a Martarezu version of Great Fireball, the 2 attacks collided, the steam from the water attack raising out of the gunshot as the fireball smashed into Taesun and flickered away harmlessly. The Hikari Mangekyo in his eyes, Taesun sighed. Remember, that doesn't work on me. Sasuke was furious beyond comparison. How dare you mock the Uchiha with your false Sharingans? Taesun chuckled. No, it's real. Now then, I'd suggest fighting me. Beast Wave Palm. The air palm was sent flying at Sasuke, who dodged the attack before he activated the Mangekyo, and formed a Susano fist that flew into Taesun, who was sent flying into the rock, and blew up in smoke. Shadow Clone. Shadow Clones. I fucking hate them. Sasuke ranted, before he felt a hand grab his leg. Earth Release. Double Suicide Decapitation Technique. Taesun dragged Sasuke into the ground, trapping his head as he himself appeared him. Blaze Release. Shield of Amartaresu. A blazing wall formed around Sasuke. While immune to the flames, they still could block his jutsu and kunai attacks. Taesun shook his head. Well then, it looks like I'm going to have to take this seriously. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 3 shadow clones formed around Taesun, before they each used the body flicker technique to appear at 4 cardinal points. North, South, East and West. Limelight. Lightning chakra was sent into the air, before blasting the island apart. The intense explosion evaporated a lake's worth of water and blew apart the 3 shadow clones, and forcing Taesun to protect himself with both Aura Release, Aura Shield and Aurora Release, or a bubble. Well, anticlimactic, but still effective, Taesun commented, before bubbles began to rise from beneath him, water walking on top of the ocean. Water Release. Explosion. The air beneath Taesun exploded, sending him into the air as Sasuke emerged from beneath the sea water. Did you think that would seriously destroy me? Taesun looked annoyed. Yes, well then, die fool. Chidori Sharp Spear. The electric, extended attack flew at Taesun, ready to stab him. Dragon, Tiger, Wind Release, Hurricane Gust. The 2 attacks were blocked as Taesun began to feel the strain. Limelight took a lot about you, when you were the only one doing it. Of course, what most considered high, was Taesun's low. Fire Release. Great Fireball Technique. Scorch Release. Beast Wave Palm. As 2 fire attacks collided, Taesun cast Ram, Tiger, Boar, Snake, Tiger, Snake, Dog and Ram. Lava Release. Surtsi. A burst of lava shot up from the sea, solidifying rapidly into an entirely new island. Now for the combo, as Taesun landed on the island. Wood Release. Senjutsu Forest. Sacred Sealing Style. 1 sacred flavor, Fiery Ramen Cup. Dozens of senjutsu trees, alongside a powerful ramen cup of stone, rose up on the island as Taesun found his eyes going toad. He was in sage mode, his chakra levels returning. Sasuke was fuming as he ran at the island. Don't you dare Dobi. Lightning Release. Thunderbird Sage Lightning Technique. Dozens of small bursts of electricity flew from Sasuke's mouth, flying to destroy the senjutsu trees. Wood Release. Acorn Rapid Bullet Technique. The 2 attacks collided, canceling one another out as Sasuke let loose a feral yell. Blaze Release. Fires of Hell. A great dark blaze of fire formed over the island, ready to incinerate everything on it. Taesun sighed. Really? Can't you get original for once? Shadow Clones. Dust Release. Barrier of the Worlds. A cross-effort of 5 shadow clones and the Dust Release barrier blocked the fires that were going to engulf the island. As all of the shadow clones and Taesun were trapped by sticky threads. Lightning Release. Emotion Wave. Using sticky threads to conduct the lightning release, the shadow clones were zapped away by Sasuke, but the original focused a bit of fluffy chakra to cut his and escaped. Not bad at all Sasuke. This might be interesting yet. Taesun breathed in deeply. Fire Release. Flame Bullet. The fire attack was sent into Sasuke, who was sent flying into the air above the island. Fire Release. Fire Snakes. Several fiery serpents flew from Sasuke's mouth straight at Taesun, who formed several daggers in his hands via Storm Chakra. Storm Release. Storm Knives. Several storm-made knives were tossed from Taesun's hands, cutting the fire snakes apart. Sasuke was now at him, his blade in hand and Chidori katanaed. Prepare to die. Shadow Striking Ramen. Taesoon used 2 strands of ramen to bind Sasuke, who was now fuming. Chidori Senbon. A swirling mass of chakra began forming around Taesoon's nose, before he sneezed it into the attack. Gesundheit Rasengan. A sneeze-blown Rasengan blasted the Chidori Senbon away, and blasted into Sasuke, sending him spiraling away. It was time to finish this shadow clone jutsu. A shadow clone formed around him. While he didn't need one still for most moves, one of his big arsenal moves still required that little aid in the whole. Wind Release. Rasenshurikan. Using his shadow clone to form the giant chakra shuriken, the deadly Rasengan was sent flying at Sasuke, ready to destroy him at the cellular level. One of his best jutsu still, and one even his dad could never create, and just for the heck of it, he did it again just that little bit differently. Fire Release. Rasenshurikan. The second shuriken was sent flying, as Sasuke dodged the first one with the agility he originally stole from Rock Lee. Oh, none of that. Ninja art. Chakra force. Controlling the 2 shuriken attacks, they flew at Sasuke from both behind and in front of him. He looked at his shadow clone, who nodded. Shadow clone jutsu. With 7 more shadow clones, each creating another Rasenshuriken variety, Sasuke was going to be toast. Lightning Release. Rasenshurikan. Scorch Release. Rasenshurikan. Storm Release. Rasenshurikan. Aura Release. Rasenshurikan. All of his massive Rasengan attacks collided into Sasuke, 1 from each side, and 2 from above and below him, with a vengeance. Kirin. The giant lightning attack, apparently manifesting itself with the aid of the clouds his Surtsi had created earlier, not only vaporized his Rasenshurikens, but blasted into the island as well, leveling it entirely. Though Taesoon had used teleport, dramatic escape to avoid the disaster area, the sea land devastated by 2 powerful lightning moves. Sasuke had escaped as well, using the Tsuchikage's flight technique to hover in the air, Taesoon using the flight technique of a man named Arashi. A Minato he and Fluffy met in another universe, Hectals, and the only one to ever defeat him since he obtained his Kekkei Genkai. While at full power, that is, since Hayate and Kakashi did defeat him earlier with him quite weakened. He owed a lot to Arashi. The man was the one to help design the time travel jutsu that allowed for this to be actually happening. Similarly, he owed a lot to the Hero League of the last universe he visited, Crespacet, whose more advanced universe jumping tech allowed him to find his way back to his own universe, though he did end up fighting through Voldemort, Orochimaru and Megatron at once to do it. Well, your ace is gone, I see, Taesoon commented, his Senjutsu chakra having restored him to optimum chakra levels, while Sasuke was tiring. Now with no clouds, no Kirin. No nothing, he didn't have nearly as much as he did, and with only 2 tailed beasts aiding him in full, he wasn't able to fight for nearly as long as last time. Sasuke, however, only glared at him. You can't defeat me, you won't defeat me. I am an Uchiha. Power, he growled, as a dark purple mass began to form around him. Taesoon sighed. If he was doing that, he may not even had to win to defeat him. A giant, armored, demon-like form began to rise around Sasuke, the ultimate Uchiha move. The very move that Madara used alongside the Shodai Hokage to capture several tailed beasts. Susano. A Ridge moves Blaze Release, Blazing Fireball. Kekkei Genkai. The description. A black ball of flames is created, much like Great Fireball technique, and sent flying at a foe. Lava Release. Surtsi Kekkei Genkai's description. Lava release is used to create an island from the sea. Lightning Release. Thunderbird Sage Lightning Technique. Rank. See description. Lightning variation of Serpent Sage and Phoenix Sage moves. Blaze Release. Fires of Hell Kekkei Genkai's description. A fire attack that unleashes the full power of Amaterasu to destroy all in its wake. Storm Release. Storm Daggers Kekkei Genkai. See description. Storm-made daggers are created in one's hands. Gesundheit Rasengan Rank. A description. Chakra rotation, formed in the front of one's nose, and launched at your foe with a sneeze. Fire Release. Rasenshuriken Rank. S description. fire variant of Rasenshuriken. Lightning release, Rasenshuriken rank, S description, lightning variation of Rasenshuriken. Scorch release, Rasenshuriken Kekkei Genkei S description, scorch variant of Rasenshuriken. Storm release, Rasenshuriken Kekkei Genkei S. Description, storm variant of Rasenshuriken aura release, Rasenshuriken. Kekkei Genkei S. Description, aura variant of Rasenshuriken. Chapter 75. Flashbacks across space and time. Flashbacks, various universes. Universe 1. Taesoon, in his get-up for his fight with his counterpart in this universe, Blood Snatcher, was standing before this universe's Sasuke Uchiha, a happier-looking Sasuke. The village seemed empty somehow, without Naruto around, and instead of Tsunade's head on the mountain, there was Itachi's. "Who are you, stranger? This is the village hidden in the leaves, and you are not welcome here," Sasuke said officially, lacking the coldness he did in Taesoon's past universe. Taesoon shook his head. "I do not believe I need to tell you this, but I can't help but think, something is amiss here. Something in this village just feels missing." Sasuke looked depressed for a second. "You mean my family?" A strange man in an orange mask attacked and slaughtered them. "Itachi, my brother and the fifth Hokage, and I weren't here at the time." Taesoon rose a questioning eyebrow. "Why am I suspecting that isn't the whole story? Did they blame anyone, as villages are tending to do?" Taesoon really had a bad feeling about this. "Yes," Sasuke said abruptly, "they blamed the village's Jinchuriki, a boy named Naruto Uzumaki. It was cruel. He was my best friend and practically the adopted son of the Uchiha clan, the only clan to accept him really, or the only people for that matter." Taesoon was disturbed. "Wait, did that include the Sandyame, Iruka and the Ichirakus? Heck, the only place that would feed him was my aunt and uncle's senbei's shop." Taesoon had an empathetic look on his face. "I take it, that didn't end well." Sasuke appeared to have a tear now. A huge mob attacked him, led by the former Hokage, the third, the former head of the Yamanaka Inoichi and some crippled guy, Danzo, Taesoon guessed. Sasuke appeared to be saying their names with more venom than a Hazuka to freeze dried food. Inoichi struck him with a mental jutsu that messed up his head, and he sort of went feral. He fled from the village, and brother removed all three of those jerks' heads. Sasuke looked away sadly. Everyone claims that was proof he was a monster, even after brother found the truth. "Take heed, I think I see the answer here." Taesoon placed a hand on Sasuke's shoulder, shocking the boy. "Your friend, the Naruto before the attack, was no monster. What happened that night didn't change your friend, it destroyed him. The mind in his body is no longer his, but..." He had a dramatic pause. "Keep on your path of a ninja, for both yourself and Naruto. Become as great as your brother, and see to it that one day, your friend is remembered as a victim, and not a monster, at least by your family." Taesoon turned to walk away. "Wait, you never told me your name," Sasuke yelled. Taesoon chuckled. "It's not important. Take care, young Sharingan heir. And take the cute girl stalking you on a date or something." A loud eep later and a fainted alternate Hinata fell on the ground in Sasuke's sight. He sighed. "Hinata, weird as always." Universe 43, Dithagrim's Naruto alternate dimension verse. Taesoon landed with a crash from a Kamui-like portal roughly, rubbing his sore buttocks, as Fluffy fell on top of him. He growled. "Damn universe traveling. I always seem to land painfully. Dotting you on top of me." Fluffy chuckled. "Hey, I went first that time." Taesoon got up and dusted off his cloaks. "Well then, let's get done quietly. It takes about 3 days to charge Kamui to recharge to a point they can world jump again, and they really tried not to do something stupid." Universe 17 taught them that. Taesoon wondered if the Sith Queen of the universe, Darth Dora, was still after their necks, and who had won in that fight, Darth Elmo or Barney Skywalker. Hopefully, they'd get through this one sort of intact. Sadly, he was mistaken. 3 days later, what the? This is more messed up than Jiraiya's Icha's. Taesoon yelled in anguish as he dodged an energy blast from a trident, setting the tree he had just been hiding behind aflame. Somehow, Fluffy had ended up offending the devil, who apparently existed in this universe in replacement of the Shinigami. He preferred the old creep than this, especially seeing as this devil was far too familiar. Despite the succubus-like features and dark clothing, the devil was his wife as a teenager. Okay, I miss the evil football-headed queen of darkness now. Fluffy wailed as the earth opened up between them, barely avoided by wind fleets. The evil Hinata grinned darkly. You know, all you have to do is marry me and I'll leave you alone, she said seductively. This guy was technically Naruto, but older and unattached. Her Naruto may have the 3 Mitarashi sisters with him, but this one was single. Hey, if she's the devil, then who, or what, are the rest of the Hyuga? Fluffy commented before trying to blast the devil Hinata with petal dust, and failed. She was jutsu-proof. Damn evil entities, they don't follow any rules. Taesun looked disturbed. I don't want to ask. Devil Hinata appeared in front of him. Hello, handsome, she made a move for a kiss, before she stopped. What the? And he's mine, back off baddie. Fluffy yelled. The devil Hinata smiled. Not bad, you can go now. The two glanced at her oddly. What about abducting me and raping me or whatever you were planning on doing? She grinned. I can still do that. No, she shrugged. I was interested in seeing how older Naruto moves, his agility in you avoiding my attacks, his loyalty in those he cares about, his stamina, she chuckled lustily. That, and I was bored, she burst into flames, with a few chuckles. That, and I have to go and torment Choji's dreams with junk food. Making him terrified of junk food was my best trick ever, Taesun shivered. Choji, afraid of junk food. I don't even want to know what she did, Fluffy smiled. But nice to see a woman on top of something, or as bottom, being hell. Universe 208, VFSNAKES, Fox Lord, Rasengan. Two Rasengans collided, as Taesun and a taller, alternate Naruto with an eye patch and strange robes with an Hyuga he had never seen before were blasted back by the power. A little girl, with brownish hair and oddly fox-like eyes, ears and a tail, was watching the battle with enthusiasm. Go Ken-chan, kick lookalike Chan's butt, she yelled with enthusiasm. The two Narutos, now going by the names of Taesun and Kenpachi, glared at one another. Revenge is never the answer, and yet you're filled with it. Taesun glared at the younger version of himself, his face visibly furious. What are you, a Uchiha? That was an insult. How dare you compare me to that TME? And what's with all of your forgiveness you preach about? You expect me to forgive the TME of a teacher who stabbed me with a Chidori? Taesun glared down at him. No, not him, nor a person who'd attack you or someone you care about. Your rage against some is just Kakashi, Sasuke, the councils, but you're being consumed by vengeance. You will be left with nothing. And your rage against our fathers. I have no father. Harsh. The yellow flash was an optimist, that is true, and missed the powers of hate, but that is no reason to hate him. The darkness you hold against Ba-chan and the pervy sage, Tsunade and Jiraiya, is also unjust. If you continue down such a path of hatred, you're no Uzumaki, you're just pathetic. Taesun turned his back to Kenpachi. I have places to be, homes to save, have fun drowning in your own revenge. One Kamui later and Taesun was gone. Kenpachi looked away, before saying to himself. Maybe Jiraiya and Tsunade aren't that at fault. Damn alternate me being right. He looked to the distance, the way towards his former home, of Konoha. Yakiru-chan. He looked to his adopted daughter, find Zangetsu. I need advice. Gotcha Ken-chan. The little girl said smiling Universe 730 hectals, new chance. Taesun and Fluffy were in a dark chamber, covered in sealed diagrams. With them were alternate versions of Jiraiya, and Minato, who had a darker look to him than his did, and Kushina. After arriving here, and this Minato, or Arashi, as he called himself, defeated him and Fluffy, before they had a chance to talk. They appeared to be arguing over the transfer seal. But the seal's diagram for time travel appears to be off by several inches. No, the Senjutsu chakra needs to be implemented here, not there. The fox suppression needs to be placed firmly here. No, not there, here. Are you serious about this design? It'd have to be implemented with only a 20% chance of latching on. We need to write it out more solidly. The Gentle Fist shield portion appears to be smudged. Gentle Fist was murder on seals. Fluffy. Put away the pheromone seal. Can't it stay? Shut it, pervy sage. Jiraiya wept. Why me? Not another one. Taesoon sighed. Nice to see some things never change. You know I've never met a nun-perverted Jiraiya in any world I've seen. Ha. Ichicha is eternal. A craze in all universes. No, the last one we visited, the book series, was a huge failure and it's considered kindling. No. Taesoon turned his attention to Minato Arashi. So, why did you suggest this time travel plan, anyway? And this power give to my younger self? He eyed his hands. These, keke genke, are curses. Arashi shook his head. But in the right hands, they could become gifts. By traveling back, I managed to revive the Sandyame Kazekage, steer Sasuke on a better path, train my son, restore his family and many others. You can do something similar. Allow your own Naruto to do the same. Minato drew a pad with a seal print on it. You can even stop the cursed seal's effects if we add this to Naruto's seal. Taesoon smiled. He could save his friendship with Sasuke. Universe 1460. Crespacet, it's sort of complicated. All of his stories are just portions of the true one. He's different than most authors. Taesoon and Fluffy found themselves in a great hall, adorned with great gold banners with gilded green H's. Several statues of beings, under a banner that stated, "Tribute to Fallen Heroes," were here, including one of Jiraiya, 4 penguins, a man with glasses and a strange lightning-shaped scar, a hunchback man with a maniacal look in his eyes in a lab coat, and an elegant-looking woman in a goat-skin cloak. Before them sat 10 others, alive and in person. The man at the far end, a black-clothed man with spiky dark hair, rose. "Greetings, cross-universe travelers. I am Sora, the second leader of the Hero League." He then introduced the council, 9 other high-ranked heroes who changed daily for fairness and freshness. First was a large red robot with a strange face-like symbol on his arm. He sort of resembled a truck. "I am Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots and leader of Cybertron, Hero League head of robotic affairs." Then there was a beaded, brown-haired man, slightly grayed in the hair, with a large black watch on his arm. "I am Ben Tennyson, Hero League second in command, guardian of the Hero League Central World, Greenia, and head of the World Naming Commission." Next was a middle-aged man with red hair and glasses in a white lab coat. "I am Dexter, Hero League head of sciences." Then came a silver-haired beauty with red eyes. "I am Mocha Akashiya, of the Hero League Vampire and Monster Division, second in command." Then was a curly-haired lady with brownish hair in robes. "I am Hermione Granger, Minister of Magic and leader of Magical Britain of the world of New Wizardia." She frowned. "And this was supposed to be Harry's duty. I have serious hippogriff legislation. Sadly, he's no longer available for such duties, being dead," a blue-gray tomcat said telepathically, his blind eyes flashing. "I am Jayfeather, the most powerful cat in the universe, and second most powerful cat known in the multiverse." Then was a person who appeared to be 12 years of age, with silver clothing and auburn hair. "I am Artemis, Greek goddess of the hunt, head of the Hero League tracking division." Now there was a penguin of all things, with an eye patch. "I am General, descendant of the great skipper and current head of penguin generations 2 and 3 inches." Finally there was a bald monk-like man with an arrow tattoo on his head. "I am Aang, Hero League third in command, master of all 4 elements, and head of the Nixia Galaxy Department." General eyed the 2 trans-universal travelers. "Behold, we of the Hero League cower." The others rolled their eyes. "It appears they haven't bred out the psychotics of the penguins," Optimus sighed, "and I doubt if they ever will. Why do we even keep these guys on rotation?" Mocha spoke out loud. "Because we have a system," Sora sighed, "to balance out the voices representing the Hero League with freshness." Taesoon smiled. "I take it you didn't want to end up like the Konoha Council." Artemis glared at him. Oh, if only her powers were stronger on other worlds, then perhaps the 2 would catch on fire. "True. We do not wish to be like the governments of the land of ninjas. Of course a lot of it takes after the issues of the Council of the Gods," Hermione answered. "Try to ignore Artemis's glares. She really has issues with you and your sensei." "I will find that pervert," Artemis growled to herself. Taesoon gulped. He heard what this goddess was known to do to perverts. It made Tsunade look generous. Anyway, we take it you're lost, Dexter commented, adjusting his glasses. We believe we can help you find your way home. Taesun's eyes were wide, as were Fluffy's. We have immense experience in cross-universal dimensional matters, and we can track the natural portals between the worlds, or anomalies. It is possible we can find a direct way back to your home. In fact, I have the research department on it right now. Taesun was shocked. Why are you helping me like this? You don't even know, well, me and not the Naruto here. I can still smell the perversity on you, one virgin goddess commented. Taesun sighed. Damn you pervy sage. Hero rule number 14. Always assist someone in trouble. General quoted. Personally, I prefer hero rule number 30. Keep the spoils of war. Artemis glared at him. About that, we still need to inventory your spoils. She glared at the paranoid, possibly kleptomaniac-bound penguin, as their race was on a hole, as a holographic image suddenly burst to life, showing an odd alien-like being with odd head-tail-like appendages. Ashoka, what do you have to report? Sora commented. He flashed Taesun and Fluffy a sorry look about being interrupted, same to Artemis. After all, gods are temperamental. I have tracked the anomaly you've requested, Dexter, and it's about to appear on the Black Planetoid, a world currently controlled by Megatron, Orochimaru and Tom Riddle. Requesting backup, Sora smiled. So, you ready to go home? Chapter 76. The End Fox Heart. Back on the battlefield, Taesun eyed the great Susano with annoyance. Not again. Even if Sasuke couldn't keep it up for too long, Susano was still perhaps one of the most powerful jutsu known. Luckily, when he fought Gaara he'd used up the remainder of his old power, and now he only has energy from Sanbi, Gobi and part of the Rokubi. Especially with the Ribi knot in the statue of the outer path, the chakra levels were quite depleted. He wouldn't need gentle fist art, soul shadow clones this time. He knew exactly how to defeat him this time. Sacred sealing style. 11 sacred flavors, desalinization. 11 ramen cups burst forth from the sea, before the water around the Surtse's former island was losing more and more salt, until the area was free of salt. He'd do it farther, but he'd hate to wreck the sea life. Summoning jutsu. A huge poof of smoke spewed from the impact, as a large form rose forth, with Taesun on top of it. Gamabunta now was posed for battle. Hey, who the hell do you think you are? I don't know how you summoned me, but, he noticed Taesun. Wait, when did you get old? Taesun sighed. Complicated, Chief Toad, talk about it with my younger self later. Now I have a Susano to destroy. Gamabunta eyed the Uchiha darkly. Uchiha? Die. No more of my brethren will be eaten. Wait, did you summon my son in the middle of the Buu fight? Gamabunta demanded. Taesun sighed. 1. He was only there for a second before you got there, and second, you wouldn't have fought if he wasn't there. Gamakichi being attacked got you to fight the Ikibi in the original timeline, so I had to replicate it. Gamabunta grimaced. He knows me far too well. Taesun looked at the Susano. If we want to have a chance of winning, we have to destroy that armor. Hope you're ready. Gamabunta leapt into the air. Dai Uchiha. He drew his Tanto, Tatsuka sword. The two blades collided, as Taesun noticed something. That sword, it's weaker than the old one. We might have a chance. Wind release. Drilling air bullet. A blast of wind flew from Taesun, blasting into the sword, as a distraction before he tossed a shuriken, with a seal tag on it, into the blade as well. Gamabunta-sama, hop back. The toad complied, grumbling. I better not get a rash after this. He landed back on the fresh water as Sasuke laughed. Oh, that's rich. You think such a lowly creature can defeat me? Taesun grinned. No, I just needed to do this. Using the warp seal, the sword of Tatsuka was warped away from Susano and on the water below them. Give that back, Dobi. Kamui. The sword was sucked in by a great space vortex. Sasuke cried. No, my blade, how dare you? Sasuke yelled. Now all he had left was the Yata mirror. Hey, Gamabunta-sama. Got oil. Gamabunta complied, as a huge gush of oil flew from his mouth. Fire release. Flame bullet. The fire caught hold of the oil, superpowering the attack and blasting into the Yata mirror. Water. The shield repulsed the fire-based attack, with Sasuke no longer able to use it to create more jutsu for himself. Sasuke inside was panting, Susano's side effects hammering into him. The energies required to maintain Susano, especially with him not having full control of his body and having fought me earlier to a powerful extreme, is taxing his body immensely. Let's keep up the heat, shall we, Chief? Gamabunta grinned. You took the words right out of my mouth, he breathed in. Wind release. Toad gun. Via another collaboration jutsu, a spiraling vortex of wind and water flew straight at Susano, who manifested the mirror once again. Earth. The water attack blasted into the shield, but this was all in the plan. Lightning release. Electric bullet. A lightning version of the bullet jutsus blasted into the toad gun, adding electricity to the charge, striking the Yata mirror in an elemental weakness. The mirror began to crack. No, you wouldn't. I would. The Yata mirror shattered from the strain of blocking 3 elements, as the attack blasted Susano, as Fluffy appeared to him in a teleport warp. The explanation and dump off is done, now let's take care of this dupe. He formed a Rasengan, that she began to shape. Why do you look familiar? Gamabunta couldn't help but think he had seen this person before. It's nothing. A black Rasenshuriken appeared in both their hands, as they yelled out at once. Tailed Beast Rasenshuriken. The attack was sent flying across the sea, and struck Susano like a point-blank tailed beast ball. An explosion larger than the Hokage monument ensued. Before the weakened Sasuke was sent flying out, Susano destroyed. It's time to finish this, he commented. Thanks Gamabunta. He closed his eyes, as he began to see his friends before him. People he met in epic events. Few talked about movies. Temujin, Shion, Amaru, Koyuki, Sarah, Michiru and Hikaru, etc. People he met in just as epic adventures with likewise lack of caring fillers. Rinmara, Isaribi, Sasama, Gurren, Yukimaru, Hotaru, Mr. Ostrich, Sumeru, etc. Friends of his from other villages. Gaara, Tamari, Konkuro, Mei, Haku, Chojuro, Darui, Samui, Killer Bee, Onoki, Kuritsuchi, Akatsuchi, etc., even to Yuya for some reason. Those he was friends with who hailed from the Akatsuki, Konan, Nagato, Yahiko, Itachi, Kabuto. Wait, why was he there? The other Jinchuriki, Yugito, Yagura, Roshi, Han, Utakata and Fu. His friends from the Leaf, Neji, Choji, Kiba and Akamaru, Tenten, Ino, Lee, Shikamaru, Shino, Sai, Kanemaru, Hiruzen, the Ichirakus, etc. His family, Minato, Kushina, Iruka, Hinata, Tsunade and Jiraiya, even Fluffy. He opened his eyes, as a huge burst of chakra appeared in his main hand. Fluffy vanished, as the shape took form of a giant glowing blue chakra fox head, with 9 chakra tails swirling around it. Behold Fox Heart, my ultimate jutsu. Within it, all of my power, shadow striking Ramen. Using Ramen to attach to Sasuke's leg, he swung to strike him as Gamabunta poofed away, wanting to get away from the impact this would give. Sasuke snapped back to life. He may be nearly dead, but he was still dangerous. Shadow Chidori, a giant version of the flapping Chidori appeared, but swirling with a dark chaos. Before the 2 attacks, Fox Heart and Shadow Chidori collided. A huge blast of light and darkness exploded from the center of the 2 attacks, as innerly the 2 attacks were striking at one another with full force as the 2 stared down at one another. The attack formed into a purple sphere like their battle in the Valley of the End. No fair. If I had been at full power, you'd still have lost, believe it. Fox Heart broke through Shadow Chidori, and pierced Sasuke's heart. Sasuke's eyes widened, as he burst into light and vanished. Taesun smiled, before he succumbed to the time limit, fading away. Okay, so expect the epilogue chapter soon, and with that this story will be over. I give my thanks to all who stuck by it and reviewed, and I encourage you all to write your own stories with originality. Don't be afraid to use new ideas, be willing to use everything, games, movies, fillers. Be sure to read other stories of mine when I write them. Until then, be ready for the final chapter. What is the future for Naruto and his harem? Will May ever get married? Are Taesun and Fluffy really gone? Gentle Fist Art. Soul Shadow Clones Rank. S description. Shadow clones, with some fluffy chakra, attack a foe while apparitions of a fallen friend appear behind them like the sunset genjutsu. Sacred sealing style. 11 sacred flavors, desalinization. Rank. S. Description. 11 ancient ramen cups rise to remove salt from nearby waters. Lightning release. Electric bullet rank. See description. Static is compressed in the mouth before being blasted at a foe. Tailed Beast Recenshuriken. Tailed Beast skill. S. Description. A fusion of Recenshuriken and the Tailed Beast Ball. Kitsune Heart Kekkei Genkei's. S. Description. Taesun's ultimate jutsu. All of his power is compiled into it, and with it, a foe is attacked with a force capable of leveling a country. Only a fully rested, sage mode using Taesun could survive its chakra take. Chapter 77. Epilogue. The end of the ritual. Utakata's dead body crashed to the floor of the Akatsuki's chamber, as the rock barricading its entrance was shattered by a rock fist. Onoki and his team stood imposingly before the Akatsuki. Deidara. Onoki growled. Said art lover smirked. Why, if it isn't my art-hating sensei. The group appeared to be ready to brawl, before a green light began to spew from Utakata's form. What the? Pain said in shock as the body shook, and Utakata's eyes opened up, as he forced himself up. Erg. Kisami's eyes were wide. How? We have the 6 tails, he should be dead. Onoki grinned. So, that Namikaze look-alike Uzumaki placed an emergency seal to draw forth Senjutsu chakra and convert it into life force to revive the boy. Impressive. Get him out of here. The 2 ninjas with him complied and grabbed Utakata before body flickering away. Dust release. Dust clone technique. The entire area imploded. Based off what Akatsuchi said about this jutsu, I've made the most realistic estimate. Toba's in pain. Damn. Not this. Tobi and Kakuzu took the attacks blunt. What the hell? Sasori's hologram flickered away. Art. Deidara yelled. Itachi frowned as he lost his hologram just as the last 2 did. Overkill. Kisame commented as his hologram vanished. From the ruined landscape that resulted, the Tsuchikage frowned. I never get to do that these days. Meanwhile, a Megakure tower. Pain blinked, before frowning. What power? Iwa should not be underestimated. Also, I think I see where Deidara-san got his inspiration for his jutsu style. He turned to Konan. Did we lose anyone? Konan frowned. Kakuzu-san was vaporized, though I believe Madara-sama escaped. The statue was also desummoned, damaged, but the tailed beasts should repair it. After all, it would take more than that to destroy it. Good. We will not be denied our hope, the end of war. But now we need a new replacement for Kakuzu-san. I wonder if we can convince that Taesun fellow. Utakata, now no longer a Jinchuriki, was able to politely turn down Onoki's offer, and went back to aiding the Tsuchigumo clan, while trying to avoid being Hotaru's sensei, which he failed in. The Akatsuki, taking time to recover from Onoki's attack, were no longer able to get work from the 5 great nations' ninja villages. Requiring jobs from smaller villages and private daimyo-yus, they eventually were able to reform their base of operations and resources after 3 years, aka Shippuden Start Era, though they had difficulty retaining replacements for Kakuzu. During this time in between their return to grace, Naruto and the girls attached to him romantically continued to grow stronger, with each girl becoming Jonin-level kunoichi by the time Akatsuki resurfaced, and Naruto successfully training his Team Naruto, Konohamaru, Moegi and Udon. Konohamaru gaining a Tobetsu rank by Shippuden Start Era, and Moegi and Udon Chunin. Hanabi was in between Chunin and Tobetsu level under her own sensei. Taking on many missions of various metal, all missions in original movie series and filler arcs, Naruto gained renown in many lands, snow, bear, moon, even a continent across the sea. His girlfriends, who became his wives a few months before the Akatsuki resurfaced, gained similar renown, becoming known as the 9 Wives, each with a 30 million Ryo bounty. Naruto had a 60 million bounty. Eventually, the Akatsuki began to reappear, capturing Gaara, who became the Godaime Kazekage, and Roshi, as well as capturing a girl with a similar beast named Amaru and a boy with some of the fox's chakra inside of him named Sora. And removing their tailed beasts or fragments of tailed beasts, though it appeared as though Taesun had thought ahead and added similar seals to them. Saving their tailed beasts came at the price of Sasori's life, which was ended by the combined teamwork of Temari, Fu, Naruto and the restored Gaara, and Itachi's, who ended up taking down Onoki in a pitched battle with the Mangekyo facing the Susano. Roshi was made the Yondiame Tsuchikage after this eventually. Danzo tracked down Pain and faced him in combat across a Megakure. Managing to hold his own for a while, Danzo eventually was defeated by Pain, while still managing to capture the killed human path and sent it back to Konoha, allowing for an analysis to take place. This eventually led to a pitched battle where Naruto faced down Pain, after the leader of Akatsuki effortlessly defeated Kakashi, Asuma, Tsunade and many others, using his new sage powers against him. After a difficult battle, Naruto prevailed and later Nagato used the last of his power to restore those he killed in the battle. Tsunade later appointed Naruto the Rokudaime Hokage after this, as he was now officially the strongest ninja in the village. That, and she had a lot of paperwork due. Konan left the Akatsuki soon after this, to rule a Megakure in Nagato's place. Though it also had something to do with the little Rinnegan kid that popped out a few months later. Eventually, after a team of Deidara and Kisame managed to apparently overpower Killer Bee, who in reality escaped, the Raikage called a five-cage summit, attended by Roshi, Gaara, Mei, and Naruto, along with his wives, where Uchiha Madara declared a fourth shinobi world war to capture the remaining two-tailed, seven-tailed, eight-tailed and nine-tailed beasts to complete his plan. The Raikage, who after hearing his brother was still alive, tracked him down, drove off Kisame and Deidara who had tried to finish the job, and after disciplining Bee, the war began. Madara, with Kisame, Deidara and Zetsu on his side, along with the 100,000 white Zetsu army, enhanced by the Ribi's dark chakra to make up for the missing tailed beasts, eventually meeting back up with Orochimaru, who agreed to aid them once again in revenge for a Naruto destroying his promised body, along with Otogakure. Using summoning, a pure world resurrection to revive many fallen famous shinobi, a very similar list to what happened originally were revived aside for those who lived, obviously, and Zabuza, whose grave was sealed along with additions such as Kabuto, Danzo, Suion, Hidan, and Tsukumo and why didn't they revive him in canon anyway? He tried to resurrect the Shodai and Nidiame once again, but this failed. Apparently Taesun had pulled the same trick he did on Zabuza with them, as well as Fluffy, Taesun, Sakura and Sasuke, which oddly failed for some unknown reason. The allied shinobi forces were forged, consisting of not only the five great nations, but the Land of Iron under Mifune, a Megakure under Konan who barely escaped an attack on her by Madara, after forcing him to give up his right eye, though he still managed to retrieve a Rinnegan Yukigakure under the direction of their Daimo Koyuki, and Hoshigakure under Godaime Hoshikage Sumeru. Even Temujin brought a legion of his men to serve in reserve to free up ninja for the front lines, as did Kusugakure. Shibuki had tried to get Takigakure to join in the war, but the ninja of the village stood against aligning with anything related to Fu. Battling across the land, the shinobi forces, after many hard battles, eventually cornered Madara, where Naruto defeated him with a secret Taesun left behind, and peace once again filled the land. With his wives being close to the leaders of the villages, tensions were easily quelled in the five great nations, leading to a peace, at least for now. In fact, the closet that there had been to war since was an incident involving Naruto being too friendly and accidentally promising a priestess named Shion to help make sure a new shrine maiden was born. It took a lot of explaining, negotiating and similar acts before the matter was settled, though they still ended up having a new blonde-hair, blue-eyed priestess. 20 years after the war, a graying Iruka stood before a new graduating class of 12-year-old genin, noticing three particular heads in particular, being the Uzumaki's Namakazes, the children being asked if they want to take the Namakaze age once they pass the genin test of this class. His favorite student somehow always had a few kids in each class, and each class before it for the last few years, and for a while after these ones. Though, luckily for him they apparently decided to stop at 27, 3 each, leaving him with only 9 generations of Uzumakis to deal with. And this was the 4th. And deal with them alone, for all the other teachers were in an asylum right now. The first generation consisted of Mangusu Uzumaki, female, Tamari, who inherited just wind but powerfully, along with her mother's mind, Kokuyoseki, male, Kuritsuchi, who inherited lava and crystal release, and Kamakiri Namakaze, male, Fu, who inherited wood release and disproving the theories, no new tailed beasts. They were Neji Hyuga's students, and all were currently preparing to take Tobetsu Jonin exams. The second generation consisted of Saba Uzumaki male, Isaribi who inherited his mother's abilities, along with Storm and Scorch, Chikao Namikaze female, Tayuya who inherited teleport and aura, as well as his mother's tongue, and Hyoga Uzumaki female, Samui who inherited storm and ice releases, along with her mother's chest. They were the students of Udon, and all Chunin. The third generation consisted of Foji Namikaze male, Tenten a weapons specialist with the Hikari Sharingan, the only one shown to inherit it, Mashi Uzumaki male, Haku, not that anyone could tell who had ice, and Sabaten Uzumaki female, Tamari who inherited wind and scorch. These were Choji's students, and currently taking the Chunin exams in Suna. It was actually odd how there were 3 Uzumaki kids the same age in the last classes, as it was apparently planned. They also all graduated at age 12, instead of around 9 or 10 as they probably could, mainly for socialization. Being the children of a powerful, and odd, family, they needed to understand what was normal. Well then, back to this generation, Squad 7, Hinode Uzumaki Namikaze. The first, a tan boy with lavender-shaded hair and pale blue eyes, was sitting quietly, looking a little shy, at least compared to his more lively half-siblings. This was Hinata's eldest, the elders, in one last defiant effort of red tape, help up the kid process for as long as possible. Hinode Namikaze, taking the name just last night, Hinata's son and being an odd egg, not inheriting any form of release from his father and inheriting his mother's Byukugen. He was considered the soul of this generation. Though he did have a stronger inheritance of the fox's chakra than most, even more than Fu's kids, who had 2 chakras of Byu inherited, making his gentle fist more potent than most. He was also apparently engaged to a Kiri genin named Meina. Yes, he said nervously. Takanami Uzumaki, a green-haired, tanned girl looked up, Fu's daughter and oddly an inheritor of her super strength, the only one of her 3 siblings to do so, and the force of this generation. Other than that, she had just a powerful water release. Like most of her extended 27-28 with Shien's kid, who they saw more as a cousin member children generation, she had immense energy and an obsessive love of ramen, shared by all of them. Hence why Tyuki was the richest man in the land of fire, even richer than the daimyo. They also saw dramatic pranking as a rite of passage. Apparently you couldn't graduate until you managed to do something big and avoid the Anbu for at least 2 hours. The Anbu found this practice both bothersome and oddly fun, apparently keeping track of the high scores and best pranks. Saba's teleporting camera trick in the hot springs was the longest running one of all, mainly because they spent most of their time being after Jiraiya and Kakashi. And Sarara Uzumaki, a black-haired girl, oddly Haku's only daughter, nodded. With blue eyes and black hair, she was serene, yet intelligent, the brains of this generation. She had ice release. Your sensei is Sarutobi Konohamaru. Konohamaru, a Jonin-ranked shinobi, and successor to the Hokage position, walked in, dressed up much like his uncle, but with his old scarf still on his neck and a lack of tobacco smoke and facial hair, entered the room. Also, like Asuma, he had a highly attractive wife, Hanabi. My team, Hokage Monument. 1 hour, they looked out at the Hokage Monument, now adorned with their father's head next to their Supa Ba-chan, to them practically via practical adoption, not ever finding it out to be true genetically, their Gigis, Konohamaru's recently deceased Gigis, and the Sho and Nidiomes. Also, Hinode-san, there is someone here to see you. In a blue blur, a buxom redhead hugged him. Oh, you made Genin Hinode-kun, I knew you would, my fiancé. Meina squealed, burying Hinode's head into her ample chest. Can't, breath, Meina-chan, he gasped out. The males in the classroom eyed him in jealousy and envy, aside for Iruka. Lucky bastard, Takanami and Sarada smirked. Just like Tu-san. Speaking of which, Naruto yawned, waking up to a normal morning, with his head buried into Fu's H-cups like pillows. Apparently they swapped each night, with his 8 other wives around him. Haku's D-cups, Isaribi's C-cups, Tayuya's D-cups, Kuritsuchi's E-cups, Samui's H-cups, Tenten's D-cups, Temari's E-cups and Hinata's, to his Jiraiya influenced, as much as he tried to resist, perverted pleasure, J-cup breasts. Apparently something changed in the timeline. Osa slightly. They're plainly visible with their lack of clothing. All of them holding on to him like vices, not wanting to leave their hero, their lover, their soulmate, their stud. Naruto yawned, wanting to get out of his deluxe emperor-sized bed, but seeing as though Supa Ba-chan was visiting, he could be a little slow. The kids would be alright, and he wouldn't wake the girls up abruptly. They may love him, but they still were females, and did not like to be disturbed when in their happy place. Not at all. That, and his Jiraiya senses were tingling. The old pervert must be nearby somewhere, and if he even tried to write Kitsune to Mesu 9, via getting any research here, ball implosion would be cast. And now, for Taesun's fate. Taesun opened his eyes, and found not oblivion, but a grassy meadow, filled with wildflowers and grass. Pushing himself up, he looked up into the sky to see the sun shining down in his face. Where am I? He commented, before he heard a gasp of shock. Naruto-kun. He turned around, to see his lavender-haired, pearl-haired princess, alive, and definitely not fluffy. She had tried to henge into Hinata once or twice, yet oddly he could sense her tricks. This was real, Hinata-chan. The two embraced rapidly, hugging and crying tears of joy. I'm sorry, he said softly, I didn't mean to. Hinata smiled and sniffled. I don't blame you. Their hug continued, before Taesun found something brush against his hand, and noticed something, as did Hinata at the time. First, Hinata was dressed in a sheer tank top and shorts that barely hid anything, not that Taesun would complain. The second thing was the fox-like tail on Hinata, and her fox-like ears. How did he miss that? Kami. They both yelled in shock. Apparently Hinata didn't realize it either. Oh, how cute. Fluffy smirked, appearing before them, dressed in a even sheerer leather set of clothing and miniskirt, with 9 tails on her. Taesun averted his eyes. Fluffy. Why are you dressed like that, you pervy fox, and for that matter, what's going on? Fluffy grinned. Oh, I decided to add my own take to this little love tale, and merely work on my own problems. She moved her arms to note the surroundings. Behold, the fox realm. Empty isn't it? She commented sadly, but of course, you can help with my problem. After all, I brought her back to life, the original one that is. Taesun twitched. Wait. You expect me to go on a wild orgy with you and Hinata? She shook her head sadly. Sadly, that Chaos Chidori is still messing her up. Hinata cried softly, but who says just me and Hinata? 2 more figures, similarly altered, appeared from behind Taesun and hugged him provocatively, a Hanyude Sakura, who was back to normal, and Hanyude Ino. Naruto-kun, don't you think it's time you get your thanks for all your help? Sakura said lustfully. Yes, let me show you. The pleasures of the mind, Ino whispered. Taesun twitched again, as Hinata sat on a border between fury for those two trying to grab her husband, and lust for the possible orgy. They can heal her. All you have to do is help me populate the Fox Realm. Remember me mentioning this a while ago about the Fox Realm being empty, with Hanyu foxes, which you can count as here without these lovely little tails, with a non-fatal immortality bonus, being half demons, Fluffy huskily whispered. Taesun was now torn between wanting to heal his wife, loyalty to his wife, Jiraiya originating lust, and his disdain for said lust. Fluffy sighed. Still trying to be loyal to Hinata-san. I see. Hinata smiled, before Fluffy did a foxy grin. Well then, it looks like I'm going to have to convince you, then, especially seeing as though I control things here, and it's no jutsu or Kekkei Genkai time. Taesun and Hinata flinched, and only did so further as fluffied versions of the new Naruto's girls, Anko, Hana, Kurai, Koyuki, Toki, Haruna, Hanabi, Karen, Mei, Shion, Konan, Yugito, Amaru, Guren, Hotaru, Shizune. Thankfully Fluffy had the morals to at least keep out family, aka Tsunade and Ayame came out of nowhere and surrounded them. For you see, all these girls have feelings for either you, or your new self, so let's help them have some fun, convincing you. Naruto and Hinata shivered, in a mix of fear and lust. Why must I be so nice? It took about a day, but Hinata and Taesun eventually agreed, and the Fox Realm soon became the most populated summon realm. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.